This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. Week 1 of the NFL season is here, and a new season means new ways to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL.
And if you're ready to place your first bet, try betting on something simple like picking a player to score a touchdown.
So score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the best place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code RAW. That's code RAW for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium on us. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus Premium terms at nfl.com/terms. Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
Welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. AEW's All Out for 2024 is in the books. If our chat is to believe, if my gut is to be believed, this is going to be a controversial ending to a pay-per-view that people are going to be talking about, I think, for a long time.
I think so, in a number of respects. You know, Swerve and Hangman Page's Texas Death Match from Full Gear last year generated a lot of talk, some controversy over aspects of that match. Hangman drinking Swerve's blood, for instance. That people were asking, is that too much? Did they take things too far? The finish of this match is not going to quell that debate whatsoever. If anything, it's gonna amplify it quite a bit. So, To recap briefly, lights out steel cage match between Swerve Strickland, Hangman Adam Page was your main event tonight, and I'll just cut right to the end.
Okay, yeah. Tell us what actually the finishing sequence so we can...
So the finishing sequence was Hangman tells Swerve. Swerve's like brought himself up to his knees after taking a powerbomb off the top rope. And Hangman says to him, I told you were going to beg for mercy. I want to hear you do it. Beg. Plead for forgiveness. And Swerve looks up at Hangman, laughs at him, gets to his feet, and then collapses. So then Hangman goes in Swerve's mouth, takes his grills out, goes and gets a syringe, stabs Swerve in the mouth with it, and then blasts Swerve over the head with a steel chair. And now, at the impact of the steel chair, they cut to a long shot. Now, was that to minimize the impact of an unprotected chair shot to the head? Was that to cover up some sort of gimmick aspect of the chair? Because you like to hope that as a planned spot to finish the match, it was coordinated to do it as safely as possible. So after the chair shot, the ref looks down at Swerve. Swerve's out. Ref calls for the bell. Match over. Hangman wins via knockout, essentially.
Right, that's what they said, yeah.
And so I imagine a lot of the debate, a lot of the conversation is going to stem, because I've seen it here in chat already, around three things. One, the use of the syringe. We've seen that before in, I would assume, I don't know for sure if they've done it in CZW, but the hardcore wrestling promotion.
Oh, yeah. CZW, Tournament of Death, we've seen that. Sure.
Yeah. It's not a new thing.
XPW's been doing it lately.
Yeah. And just the image of someone getting stabbed in the mouth with a syringe is disturbing.
Yeah.
Especially when they put them through the cheeks and stuff like that,
Yeah.
That's too much. I can't handle that. Like when you see those clips of those matches and people got needles sticking through their cheeks just hanging there. Ugh.
Yeah, no, that's not wrestling for me. But continue your.
So there's that. People are going to debate whether that was too much or not.
Yeah.
The chair shot to the head for obvious reasons. You want to know as a viewer that was done as safely as possible. to minimize potential brain injury to Swerve, or to ideally eliminate the possibility of brain injury to Swerve. We don't want him getting a concussion.
Right.
And I've seen it here too, although this aspect didn't necessarily bother me. The referee stoppage aspect of it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That makes all the sense.
No.
Yeah.
Anybody take that out of anybody bitching about that is asinine.
Well, here's
I'm sorry.
Thing. But here's the thing. It's a wrestling match. People want a pinfall or submission. People might complain about that. I don't agree with it. That makes sense for the same reason.
Yeah,
that Seth and the Fiend in the Hell in the Cell made sense. The ref was trying to stop someone from getting fucking maimed.
No, the problem with that one is the Fiend wasn't knocked out. That's the problem with that one, is that Seth Rollins was trying to do what Hangman did do tonight. And then it would have made sense for the ref to call that match at Hell in a Cell. I get that.
Didn't Seth drop a toolbox on the Fiend's head?
Yeah, he did all sorts of stuff.
While he was buried under a bunch of stuff.
The Fiend kept on coming back. He just kept on coming back. So that is not part of the equation. But you're probably right. People will bitch about that. But people will
be upset about that. I've seen it in chat already here. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That, in my opinion, so I am still conflicted, although I think I'm leaning in a certain way towards the two legitimate arguments. I'll be honest, the one legitimate argument. Syringes, I get it. They're gnarly looking. There are much worse things than because it is, look, it's a very superficial thing, just sticking a needle.
We've all gotten shots. There's a little poke.
It's gnarly looking.
It looks bad. It looks worse than it feels. Yes.
Yeah, but it's a harmless, as long as it's all clean and everything. It's a harmless thing.
Yeah.
The big thing is the chair shot. And that's the thing. Look, man, I'll be honest with you. Our reaction to this, you can watch this on the reaction live stream.
Yeah.
Was speechless.
Yeah.
Because we had thought in advance, they're going to try to top the Texas Death, aren't they? They're going to try to top that.
Yeah.
And the shocking moment at the end accomplished that. I think it beat the drinking the blood, the amount of blood, all that stuff. The chain, the hanging with the chain stuff.
It was interesting. Once the match started, so before they lowered the cage, they had both Hangman and Swerve come to the ring. It started off a really creative bit where they're both trying to pin each other against the apron, so when the cage comes down, the other person would be smashed, but eventually they both end up in the ring. While what's going on, Nana's putting a table and like a container full of stuff in the ring to use as weapons. And as the match is unfolding, I'm like, because the Texas Death Match was so wonderfully creative in terms of the violence being motivated by character. It wasn't violence for violence sake. So much of that match was based on the characters fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a freedom allowed to them in the Texas Death Match because they weren't inside a structure.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
They had free reign of the entire ringside area. So this match is unfolding. And early on, they kind of lean a bit more on the typical cage match tropes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
From people in the cage, using cage as weapons, so on and so forth. I'm like, all right, is this going to limit their creativity in any capacity in terms of telling a story along those same lines and whatever efforts they may have towards outdoing what they did in their Texas Death Match?
Yeah.
And I finally got on board with them outdoing the Texas Death Match to an extent. I don't think this was a better match. I think the Texas Death Match was still a better match in terms of the storytelling and whatnot. This was just more about the brutality of it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that I agree with that. I think I probably do prefer Texas Death over this, but there's a lot going on in this match.
There was. I'm not going to say this match. I'm not saying this match was without story. That's not the point I'm making at all. I just thought Texas Death Match was more effective in telling the story than this one, for me personally, but regardless. It's when the Cinder Block came out and Swerve dropped Hangman on it with a Vertebreaker, and later on, see on that, Page's back scraped the edge of the Cinder Block. So he got a nasty scrape on his back, but it wasn't like full impact on the Cinder Block. Swerve took a power bomb, lumbar region, on the Cinder Block, and I'm like, all right. They're gonna go for it here at the finish. They're gonna try to do something that's gonna, because that spot, the powerbomb to Cinder Block, I was speechless because that sucks. You could blow out fucking discs in your back because of that. that is bad potentially.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, if this is not the finish, they're going to do something that's going to get people talking.
I'll be honest, for AEW and all the flack they're given, and we were noting it during the broadcast tonight, during the stream tonight, for their TV production, going wide on basically what sounded like a gunshot with that chair shot was a stroke of brilliance. It really was, because it's
whatever you conjure up here is probably where something actually happened. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's sort of the point for me. I loved it. Like, the more we sit here and think about it, the fact that they were able to get us to be fucking speechless is insane. I trust that these are grown-ass adults that have complete trust in each other, and the chair was probably as gimmicked as humanly possible. And in fact, when you look at Swerve afterwards, it looked like the chair was in like a couple pieces. So it wouldn't surprise me if they just sort of loosely put, I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not a professional, but you got to have some trust in the performers that they're not going to do something that's going to lead to CTE. That they're going to have the amount of trust in each other and go through this and put on a spectacle, because that's what they do. Mm-hmm. But the fact that it has us all sitting there, we had this at number 8 or whatever. On
for the most violent feuds, yeah, it's top 5 easy now.
like
our list is instantly outdated.
I'm sorry, man, but that shit left me speechless. And to me, hey, it's rare that I'm going to be left speechless. It really is.
And the thing about, for me, the Texas Death Match is, like, immediately I could appreciate what they did. And I was in awe of so much of that match, the storytelling, the creativity. And I didn't feel
it was much more easily digestible.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. I was going to say, that's what I'm getting to. And so when I say, sitting here right now, that for me, the Texas Death Match I thought was a better match in terms of storytelling and creativity and all that, it's because I could sit there and in the moment appreciate it for that. Now I have to think about being speechless at the end. Those two dudes putting their bodies on the line to that degree, they could try to make it as safe. Literally, the first thing Swerve did when he brought out that cinder block was drop it on the mat so you could see that it was solid and hear that it was solid.
Thunk. Yeah.
And not foam or something like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the spots on the cinder block, nasty by themselves.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And then, you got to hope, you got to assume AEW's professional organization, they're going to take necessary steps to protect the talent.
That's the thing,
head
dude.
trauma. And so you got to hope, all right, that's the case. But they get you wrapped up in the moment. The match ends right there because Swerve's knocked out. There's a lot to process.
This is an all-time feud.
It is.
I don't mean to get too deep with it, but fuck it. Wrestling is an art form.
It is.
What does the best art do, man? It fucking challenges you.
It does.
It sits there and makes you think.
Yep.
And I don't even know. Yeah, dude, I'm pretty blown away by this. And again, you do have to take into consideration that this is an organization that has invested a lot of money in these performers, and they're not going to let them do something that is so overly like damaging to their heads. And in this day and age, and I think rightfully so, there is such scrutiny over when you see things like that, when you see chair shots to the head, that it should be a big no-no.
Yeah.
But in the right situation,
done safely,
hopefully. As safely as possible.
Yes.
Knowing the trust between two individuals that are professionals, been doing this for a long time, you got to just think, all right, well, that's on them. I'm not going to sit here and claim to know that they did everything right or they didn't do everything right. This is a special situation for a special feud that was the main event of one of their biggest shows, that main evented over the title for two guys in a feud that is an all-time feud across wrestling.
Absolutely.
And the fact that it's going to be so heavily debated.
Yeah.
Kind of adds to the mythos, to the mythos,
the mythos,
to the lore.
Exactly. So going back to what I was saying about this match was about the brutality. That was the story. You know, it was two guys who were trying to do everything they could next to kill each other to get revenge. And the depths they were willing to go to, especially Hangman, because it was written all over his face.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end, especially after Hangman wins, he takes his jacket and he walks up the ramp and he stops and looks back at the damage that he has wrought. And then almost takes a couple steps forward, and you think, is he going back there to inflict more pain on Swerve, or is there guilt? Does he have the impulse to go check on him?
Or does he feel empty?
Yeah.
It didn't do what he thought it would do. And he thought going back might help fill that. And so he realized it's not.
He goes to the top of the ramp, raises his hand, screams, not the most convincing celebration, and then just walks.
Yeah.
The tunnel.
Bro, they bust out a burnt piece of house.
Yeah.
For this match. He stapled family pictures to Hangman Adam Page.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I mean, and I'm sorry, I will never forget that shot that went super wide for the chair shot because like you said, then it's in our head. It's what we imagine it to be.
Yep.
That was actually an expert piece of execution. And I get it. There's some people that I see them in chat that hate this. There's gonna be people in our comments that hate this. There's gonna be people in chat that love it. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished to get people so split off of something, to be so controversial. So that's my thoughts on it. Anyways, I'm still stewing over. I might watch this shit again. I really might. It's gonna be hard. Because this is a hard match to watch.
It is, and yeah, it's going to take some stewing, some marinating on it before I can really, like as the show was going, I was writing down my star ratings. I like to do it as soon as the match is over, so it's fresh in my mind.
Oh Jesus, what did you? Yeah, well,
I don't know. It's been blank for a while. I put something there. I just kind of feel like it's one of those matches. It's just one of those matches that's hard.
What rating can you give this?
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's a match that. It's you. I don't know how to explain it exactly. It's like giving it a star rating belittles the story.
I know. It's
like trying to give the Godfather a star rating.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Or Citizen Kane, or all the great movies in cinema history.
And what does that tell you about the match?
I know. There's just a lot of thinking I got to do into it before I can even try to put together like cohesive thoughts about it within the context of the story they're telling. There's a lot I
mean, the big question also is like, and we'll talk about this in a second. We got to pay some bills, but like, what possible character development are we going to get with these two now? Like, where are they going to go from here? Yeah. These guys are these are two characters that are linked forever now. Mm-hmm. And what is this? What is this moment going to mean for these two guys? And that's what I'm really excited about for these two guys.
Same.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we thought going into it that Hangman winning would potentially unlock the more interesting story possibilities going forward, especially if it's a situation where either Hangman gets this win and then still feels empty, like the bloodlust isn't satisfied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or, like, that's why I thought it was so great having that moment after the match where Hangman just takes a couple steps down the ramp. Because then it gets you thinking, what's going on in his head now? It's not like he just went up the ramp, raised his arms, pyro went off. No, there was a moment there with him where something was going on inside him.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to hear him, I hope just not explicitly talk about it, but to get some insight in terms of how he felt after that match.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, really interesting stuff. Let me bring up here the notes so that we can... Here we go. Okay, cool. Right on. Here we go, Larson. All right, we're ready to go.
All right, let's take a break here. Get a word from the sponsor of today's episode, DraftKings Sportsbook. Week 1 of the NFL season is here, Steve. The new season means it's time for me to sing the Philadelphia Eagles fight song after a victory last night. Sing it with me, Steve.
No.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
I like the
on the
Ilya
road
dance,
to
so that's
victory.
There you go. Anyways, all right, enough of that, man. And a new season also means new ways to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. And hey, if you're looking to place your first bet, you can bet on something as simple as picking a player to score a touchdown.
I'm happy you mentioned touchdowns. We're working on a new touchdown dance. I'm showing it off a little bit there to do whenever the Eagles score a touchdown this season. I did a few times last night when they scored touchdowns while I sang, "Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory."
All
What
right,
do you
we
think?
don't need any more of that.
Fine. So
No, really.
I'm gonna pull up the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and see if your beloved, it's your favorite football team in the whole world. I'm talking about the New England Patriots. If they're favored in their game coming up this weekend against Cincinnati Bengals, it appears they are still underdogs. Steve,
Okay.
unlike my Eagles, who were favorites and won their game last night, so let's sing it. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory.
So score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the best place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code RAW. That's code RAW for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus premium on us. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
So, Hangman destroying a chair over Swerve's head wasn't the only noteworthy and uncomfortable act of violence at All Out. We saw an attempted murder.
We did. The old
John Moxley,
old term for murder, of course. Yeah.
after Blackpool Combat Club turned on Bryan Danielson. Put a plastic bag.
Well, not everybody turned.
Sorry. Oh, Wheeler.
Everybody that matters turned.
Wheeler wasn't in on the plot.
Nope. Kept him out of the loop.
So Mox gets a plastic bag, puts it over Danielson's head. Wait, what?
So this is after Danielson's match with Jack Perry.
Yes.
Long match, fun match, physical match. Luchasaurus comes down, signaling the arrival of Christian and the Patriarchy.
Yes.
They come down. Mox appears as if out of nowhere, stopping that from happening.
And he's
Claudio,
super jacked now. Why? He was hiding
massive.
all that muscle these last few weeks. He's super jacked.
Beef. Claudio, Pac, Wheeler, they come down to have his back. Patriarchy go away. They get in there. They celebrate with Danielson, who's overwhelmed that his friends have come to his aid.
Oh, he's smiling. He's over the moon about them coming and saving him from getting cashed in on.
Right. And then they beat the shit out of him and try to kill him while Wheeler Yuta hugs Pac. So Wheeler was trying to get to Danielson, but Pac was holding him back, and Wheeler didn't really try that hard. So it just looked
he
like
really wasn't trying that hard. No.
It sort of looked like he was awkwardly hugging Pac. Yeah. No.
He's crying.
And so, yeah, Mox produces a plastic bag, not unlike the kind you'd see in Manhunt, the video game. And he put it over Danielson's head again, not unlike you'd see in Manhunt. And he tried to kill the guy. So seemingly this might be Danielson's next feud with Mox. I think it's one that a lot of people have wanted to see.
Well, Danielson has to get past his title match against Darby, and we were speculating. You mentioned about why Mox wants to have this conversation with Darby now, and you would imagine it has to do something with the title opportunity that Darby has.
Sure.
You know, is Mox going to try to convince Darby, hey, put that in the line, the match gets to be, hey, give me your title shot at Grand Slam. When I win, you get first crack at me as champion, something like that.
Yeah, that could be. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, there was a little bit of foretelling there, I guess, with him telling Jack Perry, with Mox telling Jack Perry, hey, you're a sweet kid. He was the next in line for the title. Maybe he thinks he can reason it out a bit better with Darby. I don't know. But regardless, at some point, it seems like we are going to get Mox versus Danielson. What's the next pay-per-view? Wrestle Dream. Is that the one in Seattle?
Yeah, it's one in October.
Or
in
Tacoma, rather.
Washington.
Tacoma, yeah. So I could see that being the case. They're going to look. Danielson's last run here is going to be, Jack Perry aside, I think probably some pretty prominent names that are names that we're all thinking, oh man, it'd be a shame if we don't get this. You know, Mox versus Danielson is up there. Mox is a big deal. Yeah. Now he's literally a big deal. He's jacked to the gills.
I got to talk to him about his workout plan.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. So yeah, no Shane McMahon, sadly, but we do have, some inkling now. Mox has Marina Shafir and, this pack infused iteration of the Blackpool Combat Club. Clearly they're going to have a new name of some sort. And yeah, we're going to get that feud. Should be a really good match. Danielson could put on a good match with anybody. He really can. He is something else. He
is one of the greatest of all time, without a doubt. Otherwise, up and down, there wasn't a bad match on the card. The matches range from pretty good to phenomenal.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
There wasn't a bad match on the card. One could reason that maybe because the Learning Tree wasn't on there. But also, there wasn't any of those thrown together for kind of no reason matches.
Those were all on 0 hours, Steve.
Yeah, I know. We don't do that. The Young Bucks versus the Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. Maybe
it was kind of thrown together last minute.
Didn't really need that. But otherwise, you got a couple of really great, you got Statlander versus Willow, which is fucking phenomenal. You got two of the best wrestlers I got in Mercedes and Hikaru Shida. That made a lot of sense. You had a bunch of matches that made a lot of sense up until late into the show though. Well, now the Statlander Willow match really was really phenomenal. There's a lot of really good matches.
Ospreay and Pac was really, really good too.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
You think it's going to benefit next year from All In being in July and All Out not being until Labor Day?
Yes.
Because that's that was kind of my one knock on the show is I'm kind of already recovering from All In and then Bash in Berlin. No fault to AEW. That's not their show.
No.
But you got this one 2 weeks later.
The thing, while the matches up and down the card were, again, really good to phenomenal, it felt like the show was missing story beats. Like, for example, or story beats that lead you to believe something could be happening. And this first example, Daniel Garcia leaving AEW. So he loses to MJF as we expect. He rushes towards MJF, eats a low blow. MJF wins. And then, so Daniel Garcia's thing is he just wants to drop MJF on his head via pile driver off the second rope. And you think, well, if they're going to have a second match and Garcia wins that second match, that should be the finish. You hold off on that moment till the finish of that second match.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It's like what Ospreay was doing with the Tiger Driver.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But no, after the match, he hits MJF with it.
There was an extended bit at the end where, the MJF tries to give him respect, but is really looking for a low blow. Garcia catches it, and he gets his shit in.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, and I agree 1,000%, really should have been the basis for the second match. I don't know. We've heard reports about the contract situation that AEW offered Garcia, what WWE would consider over market value. I have no idea about all that stuff. But the way it just felt, because we know about his contract coming up, it felt like this was a really nice way for them to write off Daniel Garcia, in a way that says, hey, you know what? We'll be here.
Yeah.
He's still incredibly young.
Exactly.
We'll be here. They're not going to do the Jade treatment where she's off TV forever, comes back for one match and she loses. And then on Rampage, I think it was. And then she was gone. We're going to give you the treatment where we're going to make you look great. You're still going to lose MJF, but you're going to get your heat back. And you're going to accomplish your goal of dropping him on his head. So we were cracking jokes about, hey, you know what? This guy's probably going to show up at Chase U. I forget who in our chat said it, but the idea that his name's going to be Garcia Danielson. Kills me, by the way.
I mean, like the first major story beat of the show was when Mox tried to murder Bryan Danielson.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And that was right before the main event.
You're right. And that's sort of my point is there wasn't any bad wrestling on the show. It was all really, really good wrestling, and it was a lot of matches that made a lot of sense. Willow versus Statlander really does stand out to me as like, goddamn, that was different. It was creative. It was a lot of fun. Not to take anything away from any of the other matches, but that really woke me up because I kind of feel like next year spacing them out a little bit more, I think will probably benefit the second show.
So they are doing Forbidden Door in the usual All in London spot.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, though. I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's almost kind of an exhibition show in a lot of respects. I mean, they try to put some story in there, but yeah, exactly. It's a bit more thrown together matches, some dream matches and such. And it's not going to be maybe taking away from some of the storytelling they're trying to do, because it felt like it's like the one thing, and we kind of made a joke about it because we were like, what are we going to put in the thumbnail and the title of this show? Because there's a lot of good wrestling, but where's the moments that people are going to want to talk about, want to hear people discuss? And it took almost till the end of the show to get there, and then of course the main event happened, and that's what I'm assuming everybody's talking about right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll do like a ransom note style title that says "Too Far," and it'll show those two guys. Yeah,
that's good.
I'll do that maybe.
That's good.
We got a couple super chats here. Mr. Noob $5 says, "Are you doing stars as a rating metric or felony charges for this one?" Good question. I think we'll stick to stars, but again, how do you rate that main event? My goodness.
I know.
Eddie Zorro here has become a member now for 16 months. Says the brick spot into the swerve stomp through the table is awesome. Thanks for all the content, guys. Thank you very much. Yeah, there was a hell of a spot right there. Let's see here. I know we had a couple more as well. As I said, here we go. Jen here says, I'm all for themed events, but maybe not the theme of murder. I watched the Attitude Era, and what happened to Bryan Danielson made me uncomfortable. Magic 8 Ball with the $10 super chat says, I like that Hangman didn't get the satisfaction of a win since it was technically ref stoppage.
It's true.
His laughing out of joy, rage, and sanity. It's a striking way to end a pay-per-view. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with Hangman and Swerve. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Before we get into the actual recap of the show, let's mention this really quick. We have ourselves a new Big Blue Predictions champion.
A two-time Predictions champion, too.
First time somebody has been a multiple-time champion since John Hosey. Mm-hmm. Champ Fear and Loathing. Congratulations. Well done. Is Champ the one who wants the Liev Schreiber
on Eddie Kingston's
Kingston thing? Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. I'll take care of that. I got a backlog of those. I got to do a couple of them, so I'll take care of those tomorrow. Shaved Llama here with the super chat says, I believe the spike in the cage match was a reference to Starrcade 85. The Blanchard versus Magnum TA cage match had a wooden spike. Hangman also reminds me of Magnum TA. Yeah, a lot of people make that connection.
And apparently there was a story beat. I've seen that. I think we covered that pay-per-view for like an old Going In Raw view, or maybe we were doing I think it was Going In Raw view. And someone posted a comment on social media about how after that match, Magnum TA had a similar thing like, what have I done?
Okay, yeah.
It's come to this. Who am I now?
Like that.
Moment after the match. Because, he takes that spike and rams it into Tully's head, I believe.
Yeah, that's good stuff, right? Did he put a syringe through his mouth?
No, there's no syringe in that bout.
Okay, well.
We remember that.
You never know.
Because there's a wooden chair, and they break the wooden chair, and so there's a hunk of wooden chair in the ring.
That's great.
Memory serves. Been a while since I've seen it.
Quick reminder also, we got almost 800 people watching right now. So thanks for tuning in. If you do us a solid, hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and leave us a comment. Not necessarily in chat, but if you want to chat, that's great. But on the comments of the video, leave us a comment because it really helps the algorithm. It helps us, continue to grow here after almost 10 years, coming up on our 10-year anniversary, like the literal date of Going In Raw starting 10 years ago.
September 22nd, I believe. So
we should do a live stream where we listen to the original Going In Raw. Oh, that sounds miserable.
Really awkward.
That sounds super cringy.
Don't want to do that.
I don't hate listening to my old stuff. Anyways, also we've got, of course, the next Big Blue Predictions Challenge coming up. I have no idea what pay-per-views are up next.
So
What's
Bad
happening
Blood's
next?
the 6th of October, and
Okay.
Wrestle Dream might be the following weekend. Let me check.
Okay. All right. So that might be a 2-for event then. That could be.
That would make sense.
All right. Well, that's going to be probably our next Big Blue Predictions Challenge.
I can confirm they are back-to-back weekends. So.
All right. Well, there you go. So yeah, we've got those coming up. That's going to be the next Big Blue Prediction Challenge. If you want to participate in the Big Blue Prediction Challenge, we had almost 300 people participate this time, so we'd like to keep on growing that as well. You can do that. Go to patreon.com/Steven Larson. Click on the Friendo Club setup. Not only do you get access to the Predictions Challenge, you also get access to our backlog of bonus episodes. We've got more of those to come as well. And you get access to the question threads that we do for most of our recaps throughout the week. So be sure to check that out. It's a great way to help support Going in Raw Friendo Club. Speaking of Friendo Club, we have another YouTube channel called Friendo Club Wrestling. Put a bunch of short form content tomorrow morning, fresh. We're going to have our star ratings for the Friendos for this pay-per-view. So be sure to go subscribe to the Friendo Club Wrestling channel. It's right there for you right now. We've got all sorts of content there as well. Some shorter content, a bit more easily digestible than a whole backlog of podcasts.
Yes.
So, yeah. Anyways, first match was MJF versus Daniel Garcia. Again, phenomenal wrestling in this match. Started off really, really hot and really didn't let up through the match.
Yeah, the matches that relied on intensity, this one, Willow and Statlander, Ospreay and Pac more than delivered.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, you could tell, like in the story of this match, that these guys want to break each other's neck. That's the story. They want to hit that pile driver off the second rope, but especially Daniel Garcia. And man, they brought it. It was so fun. It was a really good match. Great back and forth. Good technical stuff in there as well with MJF channeling a little bit of Zack Sabre Jr. Do the kind of rings of Saturn with the leg, pulling that back too.
Yep.
It's great stuff.
Yeah, really good.
The finish saw MJF looking for a Panama Sunrise, but Garcia collapses, so MJF picks him up. Garcia, though, baiting him in. Jackknife pin gets a 2 there. Hits some palm strikes and a guillotine on MJF. MJF's about to drop the arm, and the ref checks, but Garcia catches it because he wants to inflict more damage. So he hits him with the pile driver, covers, MJF kicks out, and then he drags MJF to the corner, sets him up top. MJF blocks the pile driver off the top. Ref is distracted. Low blow. MJF covers to get the win. Afterwards, we mentioned MJF extends his hand. Garcia shakes it, but of course MJF is trying to kick him in the front area. Garcia catches that, kicks MJF in the front area, and then hits him with the pile driver off the second rope.
Yeah.
And then leaves through the crowd.
Leaves through the crowd, which to me was like the most like, okay, he's not even going to go back to Gorilla. He's going through the crowd.
Through the concourse.
Yeah.
Getting some concessions on the way out, getting his car.
What do you think he gets?
I don't know. He's driving straight to Orlando, I guess. I don't know.
12-inch glizzy?
If it's as advertised.
Maybe.
We've been in that arena. I don't remember what the concessions deal was there. That was, 6 years ago for the first All In?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
2018, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. After that, yeah, we weren't getting concessions there. We were going to the Giordano's and all that.
That's right.
Yeah,
we stopped at Portillo's on the way there. I remember that now.
Yeah, right. So after that, we said there was a brief glimpse of Swerve and Page in their respective locker rooms. They had security to protect them from each other, basically. And then we had a tag team championship match, the Packpool Combat Club, Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli versus the Elite. No shock here. Wheeler Yuta. Yeah. Wheeler Yuta took the pin, right?
Yeah, Matt covered him. Yeah. So the finish saw Claudio tag in Wheeler. They're going for the rocket launcher, fastball special, we're going to call it. Nick kicks Yuta off the top rope. Matt super kicks Claudio. So Matt goes up with Wheeler, then a Claudio uppercuts Matt. And then Claudio hits a super cut on Matt. Super sorry, a superplex, not a super cut. Like he did give him a haircut. Wheeler then does hit the dive, the fastball special onto Matt, but Matt gets the knees up, and then he just covers Wheeler while Nick holds back Claudio to get the win. It's not even like he didn't even hit a TK driver. They did hit EVP trigger earlier, but not to finish the match.
Look, I get it. It's all elite wrestling. You got to put the elite on there somewhere. Kind of feel like this was the one match. You know, if you wanted to scale back the pay-per-view to like 3.5 hours or 3, I guess maybe 3 and 340, something like that.
Yeah.
Solid Dynamite main event, maybe.
Exactly. No, it's been a really good Dynamite main event.
Yeah, man. What was really good, definitely deserved to be on pay-per-view, the International Championship match. Oh, my God. Pac versus Will Ospreay. This match was fucking phenomenal, man.
Phenomenal.
Pac still has it. This guy is absolutely outstanding. This is probably that match that it's like hard to describe. You just got to see it. But man, there was so many dumping people on their necks spots
the
here.
Counters of spots and counters to those counters. It was just. I like that Poison Ranas are an essential aspect of this feud.
Yeah.
Because it boggles my mind how anybody can take that move, especially the way Will Ospreay just like makes his body limp on impact.
It is like, you're absolutely right. It is that one move where I'm like, I think at one point I watched it back. Like I watched it like a compilation of the move a couple times and I was like, oh, I kind of get how they do it. And then I forgot. And now I still don't know how they do it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I guess somewhat their neck's protected by the person's delivering its legs on impact.
But doing a whole backflip.
I know, but still, there's a lot of impact on the back of your head and your shoulders and neck. So it can't be.
I'm just talking about like how do you physically do it? It's crazy.
Just like the actual mechanics of it.
It's a great move. It's such a great move.
If you're athletic, I think you could pull it off. If you're one of us, we're just landing straight in the crown of our head.
Dude, I'm not even gonna get that far back. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I can't spring backwards.
It's more just kind of fall clumsily backwards.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would be. Exactly.
So at one point, Pac's going for a super poison run off the top, but Ospreay lands on his feet, hits a hidden blade. Pac kicks out. So Will hits an Os Cutter, looking for a Stormbreaker, but Pac counters that to a Rana, gets a 2 count. Then Ospreay hits a Styles Clash and a hidden blade to finally get the win. There's a lot of great back and forth. We could describe a bunch of moves, but just go watch it.
It's absolutely terrific. Also terrific. Chicago Street Fight. Willow Nightingale versus Kris Statlander. And even though they, buck tradition by not having jeans on in this match, still, God damn it. This was so creative. It was phenomenal. This was great. Probably punctuated by thumbtacks coming out. And then Statlander doing basically splits on them.
Yeah. Yeah. She was trying to go for like a splits pin situation or splits leg drop type deal. And Willow got out of the way. And so, Statlander did splits right on the thumbtacks. That was rough. So where do we pick up here? So right after that, Willow hits a Death Valley driver on the tacks, gets a 2 there. This is all after they were brawling up the ramp. There was light tubes involved. Going off the stage through tables, all sorts of crazy stuff up there. Again, another match. Just go watch it. It's so good.
It is legitimately probably like the most straight up fun match on this card because it was just tons of fun.
It really was. So then Statlander hits a Spanish fly off the top. She grabs a hunk of chain, lays out Willow with it, gets a 2. She starts to roll out. Statlander rolls her back in. Statlander grabs essentially like what you'd have for a strap match, but except instead of a leather strap, it was a length of chain. It was a length of chain with 2 things to put around the wrists. So it essentially turned into an impromptu strap match.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So Statlander puts one on her wrist, the other on Willow. Willow hits her with a spine buster. Willow's hitting some shots. Kris fights back. They both hit clotheslines. Statlander hits a tombstone and then wraps the chain around Willow's neck and mouth and really starts cranking back on it like a crossface. And Willow taps.
Yeah, this has been a really great rivalry. One that we were really hoping when, there was that period of time when Willow got the TBS championship, dropped it almost immediately to Mercedes. We were like, okay, well, is she going to make TV? Is she going to make pay-per-view with this Statlander thing? Because it's terrific.
Yeah.
And here we are and we got what seems to be probably maybe their blow off.
I don't know, because I wouldn't
You
be
think
surprised.
Will's got to come out in the end?
I wouldn't be surprised they have another match, because this wasn't for Willow's CMLL Women's Championship. And the crux of this whole thing is that, because I read what happened on Collision, I didn't watch it, that Stat was upset that Willow never offered her
Oh,
TBS
okay. I didn't
title
watch
shot.
that. Okay.
So now Statlander's playing and say, I beat you.
Oh, that's a good
Now
point.
you got to give me a CML Women's title shot. They'll have that match. Willow
Well,
will
you know
probably
what?
win
If that match happens on Collision, I'll watch Collision.
Yeah.
Usually I watch most of Collision anyways. I keep up with it sometimes.
I'll at least watch the clips on social media.
Yeah, I do that too. So afterwards, we had, let's see here, Ospreay backstage with Renee Paquette. And he's like, oh, Pac is great. Did you ever want a rematch, mate? Just come over here. And then he's like talking about, he's like, but there's one guy back there. I know you're backstage. I know you're watching TV. You're backstage. Ricochet, mate. And then Ricochet just sort of awkwardly like comes from off camera. He's like, yeah, I hear you talking shit about me, man. You talking mad shit about me. And Will's like, what? Okay, sure. And then so they talk a little bit of trash back and forth. They both try not to laugh. And then Will's like, yeah, why don't you go talk to Tony Khan? Why don't you go get some wins? And I'll be waiting for you with this title. So you got to figure between now and, what is it, Wrestle Dream?
Yeah.
They'll probably get that done. I'm going to let the dog in, so why don't
Sure.
you pick it up from here?
I'll continue. Next, we had the four-way match for the Continental Championship. You had Okada defending against Mark Briscoe, Takeshita, Orange Cassidy. Coming out of this, we figured we'd see a tease for Okada, Takeshita in the near future. That's exactly what we got, because Okada kind of cost Takeshita a chance to win this match. Just knowing those matches, you just have to go watch it because there's so much stuff going on. Us saying move wouldn't really get it across. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about the finish, though. So Okada eats the froggy bow from Mark. Let me go ahead a little bit further. Orange Cassidy hits a beach break, looks for the orange punch, but Takeshita hits him with a knee and a lariat. That's when Okada dumps Takeshita out of the ring and then hits a Rainmaker on Mark. Orange rolls up, Okada gets a 2, and then Okada hits Orange with the Rainmaker to get the win.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of a stare down between Okada and Takeshita afterwards, too. So we're totally getting that.
I'm glad they went this route because it kind of depends on if Tony Khan just sees Okada in one way and everybody else that challenges him in a completely different way. But I'm telling you, man, if you want to take Takeshita to that next level, which what else are you going to do with him if you don't do this? He's got to get the guy to get that Okada rub, man. I think that'd be a smart move, especially with how good he did in the G1.
This is what they need to do with this. Considering how fan sentiment, I think there's a lot of fan sentiment behind Takeshita.
Yeah.
To do much more than what he's doing. The first match they have, Callis tries to help Takeshita win. Doesn't work. Okada kicks Takeshita in the front area. Rainmaker. Okada gets the first one. Takeshita says, Callis, you're a fool. You're hapless. You suck. I'm leaving the Callis family. Get a babyface turn for Takeshita.
Yeah.
He takes on Okada again. This time Callis tries to cost him the match. Takeshita thwarts him. Defeats Okada. That's how you do it.
So I'm hearing that the media scrum, according to one person in chat, anyways, it just lasted like 10 minutes, and it was just Tony Khan talking for 10 minutes, and it finished. Really?
That's
That's
it?
that can't be right. Really?
That's interesting.
That is abnormal.
Yeah, that's exceptionally short. Usually it's like 10 minutes for one answer.
Yeah. Yeah, if that. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Well, we'll keep an eye on that, on the scrum situation.
Yeah.
Anyways, after that, we had the TBS Championship on the line. Mercedes Moné, the champion, Hikaru Shida, the ace of AEW, challenging for it. A really great match between these two. Really good chemistry just from the start. And given that Camille was banned from ringside, thought she might show up because that's usually what happens when somebody's banned from ringside. But nothing. Mercedes got the win clean, mainly because Hikaru Shida was too obsessed with the possibility of using the kendo stick She took aim with it. She tossed it aside, hits a question mark kick, misses a Meteora, and Mercedes able to hit the moneymaker after 2 attempts to get the win. So, really good match. Really, really fun stuff here.
Yeah, good match. Next we had for the World Championship, Jack Perry challenging Bryan Danielson. A pretty straightforward, fun bout. Real story beats happen afterwards.
Yeah.
So the finish saw Perry mocking the yes chance, looking for his running knee. Danielson counters with the knee plus. They're trading forearms. They're slapping each other. Danielson smiles, kind of goes into trance mode, and backs Perry to the corner while Perry's still trying to slap him. And then Danielson just starts hitting strikes, looks for a German suplex. Avoids a German suplex. Perry does, but runs another knee plus. Perry kicks out. Danielson hits some stomps. At this point, Perry's pretty much out. Hits some Danielson stomps. Goes for another running knee. And Perry gets to his knees and sacrifices himself. That's his thing.
Yeah, he's a scapegoat.
Scapegoat. And so he eats the last knee plus. Danielson wins.
Yeah. It reminded me, I know you didn't see this, but the last shot of the Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, I didn't watch that show.
I don't want to spoil it for anybody. It's not very good. The show is actually pretty decent, like for the first couple seasons. And then it just becomes, well, I got to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's a bunch of dumb people making bad decisions, but it's pretty entertaining.
That's so much of prestige TV, though.
It really is.
It's just people making bad decisions.
So RG here in chat claims that Tony Khan used the word shockwave like 3 times.
Yeah, they just trademarked that. So
he said Romania. So I looked; it was about 15 minutes. That is very abnormal. Wonder what's up with that.
What the deal is with that? So after the Danielson,
so that
win,
was that Danielson match was 27 minutes long, and the main event was 31 minutes long.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's fascinating.
Everybody's gassed. Everybody wrestled long matches tonight.
that could be, yeah.
Beat up. Everybody's probably in medical, getting checked out.
Or they can have Swerve come out and do a press conference.
Hangman's not gonna do that. His character wouldn't sit there.
Just wide-eyed.
Danielson was just about Murthered. He's not gonna be there.
He's not gonna be there. We saw Garcia. He left already. He left
Garcia
the arena.
left. So yeah, who's there to talk?
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, after Danielson wins, Killswitch arrives, heralding the arrival of Christian and the patriarchy. So they come to the ringside. Christian's got his contract. He wants to cash in. That's when Mox, Yuta, Pac, Claudio step in front. Patriarchy back off. They all get in the ring. Blackpool Combat Club. They celebrate with Danielson. Danielson's just elated that his friends are there. They're celebrating. Mox gives him a hug. Mox gives Danielson a kiss on the forehead. You knew that that moment Danielson was doomed.
He was done. Yeah, kiss of death.
He was doomed because after that, laid out. Claudio hits him with an uppercut. That's when Mox puts the plastic bag over Danielson's head. Pac holds back Wheeler. And, Mox is just suffocating Danielson. After Danielson's body goes limp, Mox relents. Blackpool Combat Club leave. And then doctors come in and give Danielson oxygen and stuff. So
yeah.
And then AEW said they're not going to post that footage because it was too much.
Oh, yeah.
Attempted murder. I get it.
Yeah, got to pay. Well, also you pay $50 to see that shit.
To watch the attempted murder. Yeah,
you can check it out. They did post it on their YouTube channel for $50. Then we had Lights Out Steel Cage, unsanctioned, Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland. We talked about this match a lot. Swerve came out in all white attire. The trim was, there was like a picture of Hangman burning down the house. There was like some fire trim. But you figure, okay, this is going to be a bloodbath because the guy's wearing white pants. And it wasn't quite a bloodbath. It was just really
bloody
disturbing.
As the Texas Death Match. No,
it just made us question reality is all.
Yeah.
There was a stomp through the table, which was good. Yeah. Swerve stomp through the table onto Hangman. That was great.
There's another staple gun. There's some staple gun stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So referencing the Texas Death Match, we could pick up here where Page power bombs Swerve on the cinder block. Gosh, that sucked.
Yeah.
Gosh, that sucked. So then, shortly after that, Swerve hits a powerbomb, a house call into the cage. Covers, gets a 2. Swerve heads up top like he's looking for a stomp. Then he looks up to the top of the cage. He's like, I'm going to climb up there. So he starts climbing. Hangman follows and hits a powerbomb, an awesome bomb off the top rope. Follows with a dead eye, gets a 2 there. So Page grabs the chair and he starts screaming at Swerve. He says, I told you, you're going to have to plead for forgiveness and beg for mercy. I want to hear you say it. And when Swerve doesn't, hits him in the head with the chair. Just like, the butt of the chair, the top of the chair. And so Swerve starts to get to his feet laughing and then collapses. And as mentioned, we have the kneel spot, chair shot to the head.
Oh, Hangman had also taken his grills
Yeah,
out.
I mentioned that at the beginning.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And then, the ref calls for the bell because Swerve's out. Yeah, brutal stuff. Brutal.
Yeah. Really, really interesting. Real interesting stuff. It's going to be interesting to see the discourse in the internet wrestling community.
Yes.
3 weekends, 3 pay-per-views, Larson, for us.
We did it.
We did it.
Now the fallow period, Steve.
Bro, we got to come up with some hot content. Hopefully there was a backstage. So there was like a rumor of like something possibly potentially happening.
Something about security from inside the arena running backstage or something like that.
Yeah, man, we don't need people fighting backstage. Well, we do for our business, but I'd prefer people be cool.
Yeah,
we can be creative. We
could
figure it out ourselves. But like I said, tomorrow morning we'll be back with our star ratings. So be sure to keep an eye out for that over at the Friendo Club Wrestling channel. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. And until next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.